Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in Space Engineers, and we are continuing on with the refit of the Interstellar Transport. So the idea here was to eliminate all of the, well, most of the mods in this and turn this into a purely vanilla ship. Now, the one caveat here is the scaffold. These blocks. So these blocks are not ground down blocks, they are real blocks. There's only a couple mods that do this for you, so this is one of those. So anyway, continuing on with what I was trying to do here. So we have, trying to understand where everything here is. So these were oxygen, and then they turn into batteries. So this is the jump drive section here. So if I really wanted to make this look, I want to say symmetrical, just so you actually have a transition from section to section. And I don't know that it really matters, because we go right from basically the jump drives into the refineries, into the or did I have the refineries on this side? Maybe I have the refineries on this side. Yep, the refineries are in here. Yep. So we go from jump drives, which we should be able to see. Yep, they're right there. So port and starboard. We're actually on the starboard side, so I'm upside down. Turn right side up. There we go. So we have a port and starboard set of jump drives there. So, all right. So one of the things I wanted to do, let me go ahead and just because I'm going to go ahead and put in my what is that? Oh, that's the corner of the jump drive. Never mind. So we have the transition here from section to section. The lag gets absolutely horrendous when you have vessels that are this size. So the sheer number of blocks, and having said that, the thing to remember with this particular vessel, if and I'll note this on the Steam Workshop in the description page, you cannot res this vessel without turning off block limits. It will not let you res this in the game with block limits turned on. And we'll get a final block count and everything here when we're done, but it's a lot. Alright, so number 5, we're going to change colors because we've got to put the tiger stripe on. And I think all of these are oriented up, so we're going to do the same thing here. And because I might as well do these all at once, they come all the way to here. I'm going to stop one short because that's the transitionary point in my mind. So that is the rear bulkhead of the cryo chamber, in fact. So we're going to leave that alone until we're actually working on the cryo chamber. Alright, so string this all the way along the side. So these serve as the protectors for the conveyor tubes. not much of a protector, but anything is better than nothing, right? So this is the port side here, and all the way down. And the last one. So spin, and then alright. So we are now complete up to right here, which is a good thing. Alright, so let me turn over because we're on the port side, get myself right side up. So, cryo chamber. Oh, man. Alright, so one of the things that I want to do is get all this stuff connected in. Now, doing that is not necessarily a challenge, but I don't want to use more darn it. Well, I guess it would be a good transitionary, even though using using conveyor junctions is a bit expensive when it comes to CPU, but we're already lagging the game out, right? So we really need to worry about anything else. Alright, so what are we doing as far as the bulkhead goes here? So we need our bulkhead blocks. So let me get this oriented correctly, and the up. So if I am correct, so this is the port side. So up, I am oriented correctly, given the port side of the vessel being where it is. Okay, so we're going to go, apparently not, we're going to do that, and then do this. Now, having done that, the question is, where are we going to put the cryo chambers? And are we going to do a dual layer cryo chamber, which I think we should. So having said that, so I think that we have a row of, back over here, and this is going to be hideously expensive as far as CPU time goes, but I think we have damn it. question is, do we want to put a floor in here? And if we do a floor, then we have to separate everything back. So I think I'm not going to do the floor. This then just means we do the side-to-side thing. Alright, I'm going to cheat because I'm just too lazy to put every single one of those down. So the question at this point is, do we continue on with the conveyors on the outside, or do we start putting windows in? Now, my original concept was we have windows because it's an accessible space, and I like to be able to see out. So the bottom, no biggie. We could actually, completely button up the top and the bottom, but I think having the sides as windows might be kind of neat. So having said that, then this becomes the terminus of this side conveyor. Likewise, that becomes the terminus of the conveyor on the side. Having said that, now I want to put in air vents. And I think, let me make sure we're going, yes. So I'm gonna put in 5 air vents, and I need to get onto the correct page here. So we're going to turn those upright based on the fact that, so you can see out here that red in the very back, we're on the port side. There's 1, 2, 3, I'm going to do 4 and 5. Do we need that many? Don't know. It's a big space, but no. Alright. We are going to continue the conveyor this way. Alright, so stop that one, and we're going to do the same thing this one. The 2 side ones, we're going to have windows out here, and then the bottom now, which, let me get bottom and top, is now going to be deck and overhead. So number 5 and 9. So here's what we need to do here, is continue this on let's go back to number 8 to there's a tube. This is going to have to be a conveyor. So conveyor and conveyor. And then this one will be a tube again. And green, yes. And now that that's green, then I can go and put the floor in. Or the deck, as the case may be. So put the deck in. There's the deck. Now, normally, I would probably leave all these oriented the same, the correct way, but because these kind of have little dinky lights in them, I'm going to go ahead and put the lights up. And I'm not going to finish this one all the way because I need to manipulate the conveyors through. Alright, so this is our cryo chamber. The only thing we need to do is put windows on here. Sorry about that, had to address a couple things. Windows. So the question with windows, are we going to do 2s or 1s? And so there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So, if we follow suit by putting armor block there and an armor block here, then we can actually do dual windows, which is to say the dual pane windows. So let's try and get this oriented around the correct way. Which is that correct? Alright, that is correct. So, let us put these in. Actually, I need to change to black framing because that's the tiger strike place. Alright. And, oh, darn. I didn't really want to do that. Okay, good. And we're going to drop below so we only do... Come on. Alright. So this is pretty much the cryo chamber. And having said that, let's go outside, which will be really easy because we just go through the hole. And I need to put my other windows in. Okay, so let's make this look. Nope, I guess we don't really have to do that, do we? We put a block here. Is that a black block? Yeah, I guess we do have to kind of do a black block there. Oh, don't have to worry about that. Got to put one on the other side. Back to number 8 and black, and then 9 and the 2 window here, and check orientation. May not actually need that second one, but it's there for now. You also notice this cockpit sitting up here. There's a reason for that. In most of my ships, especially my large ships, because you have an actual cockpit, sometimes you're doing EVA and you just want to be able to jump in and drive. So I always put a cockpit onto my builds specifically for that. So that way I don't have to go through doors, bulkheads, everything else to get to my cockpit. I just jump right in and boom, done. The other advantage to that is that when you're out of energy, for example, like I am now, if you were truly playing in survival, then that would be of concern to you because you can't use any of your tools. So that gives you the opportunity to just jump right into the cockpit there, and replenish your energy. Okay. So we've got double pane windows, which is a good thing. All right, so now we go back in and we can figure out how to replumb. So the bottom is replumbed. The top, we have to figure out what we're going to do here. So technically our side conveyors are here, so they're not really a problem. We didn't just discontinue those, although we did. So they are still a part of things, but not. Okay, so because there's no real easy way to do this without using junctions, we'll just use a junction. So we're going to go conveyor tube in, and in this case we need a junction and a junction. So the cockpit takes air from below, so we needed that there. But I do want to connect this in. So let me get down a little lower. so we are running our conveyors all the way through, right? 9, 1, 2, 3. One there, and one there. So the question is, how do we continue on this upper center, or do we terminate it into something? And I think we're going to have to terminate it into something. The bottom one is not connected to the sides, but let's do this and this, and this and this. So that will connect now the top one onto the sides, and we really could do the same thing down here, and I think I will. Question is where. So let me remove part of the floor, and we could actually remove so did not want to take that particular piece out, so we have to figure out so we could connect that, and maybe we will have to connect that forward of the oxygen tank. I think we're going to have to connect that up there, and that's fine. This already comes in, so it will rejoin. We've already pulled this one down from the top, which is also fine. All right, let's we'll fix this. So number 9, we'll put that there, that there. Uh-oh, those are black. Don't want those. Oops. Oh, those are not visible, but all right. So 1, 2, 3. All right. So. To continue on, we're going to bring this down. So 9, put that one there, that one there, that one there, that one there. 8, 2. Conveyor, and we do the same thing on this side, a conveyor and a conveyor, which now connects everything back in from the top. Alright, so this, how is this actually here? We're going to have to get rid of that so we can do everything we need to do here. Oh, damn it. Alright, so conveyor, 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 conveyor. So there needs to be a conveyor there, and unfortunately a conveyor there, which will now integrate all of the systems into basically one, or three in this case. So we still have some redundancy, but we have these two that are coming across, so we basically now have 4 conveyors which have merged into 3 before they move forward, and then they will continue on up the center of the ship here. So what all do we need facing down? Do I want the windows here, or do I not want the windows here? Really don't need the windows. And if I put, like, you know, oxygen oxygen generators, gas generators in here, then which would be good. I mean, we are now in the living portion of the ship. Alright, so before we move on from here, we are wanting cryo chambers. So cryo chambers being what they are, so 8 G, we can get rid of some stuff. So we may need oxygen generators, we may need gyroscopes up front still. So we're done with I think those 3. So cryo chamber right here. So let's get our cryo chambers put in. Okay, so the trick is figuring out which way is up. So here's our connector. So there's the connector. But I do not know. Yes, it will. I might have to put these in one at a time. And you know what? It won't matter because there's the original cryo chambers had numbers anyway. So, okay, and this is just, oops, delete, because, yep. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. Okay, very busy room here, but overall, I mean, I guess we could put, you know, 3 rows of cryo chambers in here, but I think it will be pretty obvious that, hey, this is the cryo room. Alright, and there's a big part of me that wants to go ahead and put a Darth Biomech door here, and just make that, you know, you have to have that. I really want to, but alright, maybe we won't. So we really only need 2 at this end, but let's go ahead and see how many we can fit. Alright, so there's 1, 2, and 2. Okay, so we have 5 in the back and 4 in the front, which is overkill, but alright, so if we close the door, we should have gone green. Why didn't we go green? Oh, we did. It just took a couple seconds for it to realize that we went green. So the downside, of course, is that this is an inner bulkhead door. So that maybe won't even sense that things went. Yeah, they did, but they should go. Yep, they did go green again. Okay. So we have to figure out what we're doing here. This used to be a Darth Biomech door. We are 1, 2, 3. Technically, we are space away. So here's what we need to do here is a conveyor here. We're actually using the oxygen tank, so we need to go like this, this, and this. And on the outside here is actually port dock B. And this is connector port dock A. So all the assemblers, let me go ahead and put those up in the assemblers. Orientate. Okay, off. Assemblers. Cooperative mode, and we could do nanite factory queuing, but it really wouldn't matter because there's not a nanite factory on here. But when I do the nanite factories, it's always there. Okay, air vents. if you want to do things like putting in oxygen lockdown, for example, right now is embedded in this machine, but going through and configuring it can be a little bit challenging, which I don't know if we want to do within the realm and context of this rebuild. Guess we could. So this is Cryo Room 01, I'm going to call this. Cryo Room 2, 3, 4. So this is a Control A, a Control V, which is pasting over what I wanted to be in there, and then adding the number on the end. So all of these air vents are in the cryo room. So these were the 9 vents that we put into the cryo room. And 9. So we should, we don't because we killed them all. Okay, air vents. So we're going to create a group called air vents, specifically for air vents for right now, but so I'm going to get rid of that because right now we do not have I don't have everything set up to do the oxygen lockdown. We'll have to do that later, and we'll build all of our groups and everything. It's not that hard, but it's just the time to make it work. All right. Normally I do semi-auto batteries. Now the downside to semi-auto is they go all the way down to 0 before they start recharging, whereas if you leave all these just disconnected, then they kind of do their own thing. They get all the way to the top, and then they actually, if there's power available, they will pull it and store it, and then shift back to a discharge mode. So semi-auto causes them to completely cycle up and down. So some people say, always leave them in semi-auto so they, completely cycle the batteries, and then other folks say just leave all these off, leave all these unchecked. So it's really, your personal preference. Alright, toolbar off. Cryo chambers. So we have a bunch here that there's actually there's 16 times 2, so 32 cryo chambers, or actually 64 I guess, because it's 16 in 2 rows on each side, so it's 32 on each side. Cryo chambers, there we go, put a Z on it, make it look cool. Gyros. We're probably not done with gyros yet, but we have a group for gyros, so we will put them in their group. So save, toolbar toggle, and terminal toggle. Oxygen generators. We do have a bunch. So, oxygen generators. Do we have a... We don't. So, and I'm going to call these gas generators because they are. And toolbar and terminal. Refineries. Come on. So, refineries. Make them off the terminal. I put all of my modules into a thing called upgrade modules, just because the only thing you can do is turn these things on and off. There is no configuration for them. They either work or they don't. So, upgrade modules. Alright, so that gets them off there, which is exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, so this is the sliding door into the cryo chamber. The remote control, which is RC transport, and make sure we have yes. All right. Alright, so this is port docking connectors. And you don't need that on the toolbar, and inventory is fine. So, alright. I don't know why that. More bugs. Okay. So, change a few things here. We need a armor block, armor block, armor block. I guess we can do the same thing in here. And we have that's the outer door and the inner door. So that one is so this is port aft airlock because there's actually a port forward airlock. Alright. And this is the port aft airlock inner door. And close. Alright, now we have to do kind of the same type of stuff on this side. So we have that, we have this, and then we have this and this. 6. Oh, we have windows. But we lost just a couple windows on the outside. Nope, I guess we didn't. They're turned around the other way. So 6. Inside we will have this. Those lights there, but alright, 9. And we have 8. So that's the outer and the inner starboard. Starboard, aft, airlock, outer. Starboard, aft, airlock, inner. We'll go ahead and do connectors put on here. So this is starboard dock A. Not sure what I named these guys. Change these to docking connectors port. Yep. I thought I had done it that way. Okay. So starboard dock B is the other one, and this is docking connectors starboard. Save. Select all. Me, yes. And then docking connectors port. Turn them off. Docking connector starboard, off and off. Alright. So, in keeping consistency, will keep our tiger striping doing what it's supposed to do. Plate. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. Alright, so there's that outer, so now it's a dual pane window, and we'll fix all this up on this side. So we need 2. Oh, damn it. Windows number 4, and spin that one around, and it goes, whoops, forgot to change the color. Alright, so we still have a little bit of work on the inside there to do. Probably put some oxygen generators down, which will kind of be these forward areas oxygen generators, so more intending that obviously if some fighter or something comes in and blows the rear end off the ship here, then we would still have some form of oxygen generators. So this is I think a good stopping place, and we will continue with the next episode. So until then, this is Kenty Tiger signing off, and we will see you next time.